Do you know when to use the present perfect simple and when to use the present perfect continuous? This video is brought to you by Balanced Languages, Balancing Grammar and Fluency. So I'm going to give you 21 sentences and I'd like you to decide whether the sentences are correct or not, and then to correct the ones that are incorrect, and also to think why the sentences are either correct or incorrect. So let's get started. Number 1, you've painted the bedroom, it looks fantastic. Is that correct? If you would like to take a moment to think about that, I would recommend that you pause the video because I'm going to tell you the answer now. Okay, so you've painted the bedroom, it looks fantastic. That is correct. Why is it correct? It's present perfect simple because we're focusing on the result. It looks fantastic. That is the result of the action. So number 2, sorry I haven't called you. I've been painting the bedroom. Is that correct or not? Pause the video if you want to take a moment to think about it. Okay, so number 2 is also correct. Why is it correct? So I've been painting the bedroom is present perfect continuous. And it's correct because we're focusing on the activity. So why haven't I called you? Because I've been painting the bedroom. Okay, number 3. I've been having this car for several years. Pause the video if you want to think about that. Okay, so that is incorrect. Why is it incorrect? Okay, so having a car, if we talk about having a car, here the verb have is used in the context of to possess, to have a possession. And in this context, have is a state verb, and state verbs are not usually used in the continuous form. So moving on to the next one, we've been knowing each other since we were at school. Is that correct or incorrect? Pause the video if you want to think about that. Okay, so that is incorrect. Why is that incorrect? Okay, that is incorrect because knowing a person is a state, not an activity. And as I just said, we don't usually use state verbs in the continuous form, so we need to use present perfect simple. So it should be we've known each other since we were at school. So number 5, they've been being married for 10 years. Sounds strange, right? So you guessed it, that is incorrect. So why is it incorrect? For the same reason as the previous 2. So being married is a state, not an activity. So what should it be? It should be they've been married for 10 years. Well done if you got those right. So moving on to number 6. Number 6, he's lived in Spain for 20 years. Is that correct? Yep, that is correct. And number 7, he's been living in Spain for 20 years. Is that correct? Yeah, that is also correct. I'm going to explain that in just a moment because number 8 and number 9 are actually quite similar. So number 8, she's worked for the company since 1999. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Number 9, she's been working for the company since 1999. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Okay, so why? Those last 4 examples, there was no difference in the sentences. The only difference was one was present perfect simple and the other was present perfect continuous. So why? Well, the reason is there are some verbs like live and work where there is little or no difference between using present perfect simple or present perfect continuous. Okay, number 10. Who's eaten my cookies? Is that correct or incorrect? Okay, so number 10 is correct. Who's eaten my cookies? And number 11, who's been eating my cookies? Is that correct? Yes, it is. So, okay, why? Why? What is the difference? What is the difference between number 10 and number 11? So the difference is, in number 10, who's eaten my cookies? Someone has eaten all of the cookies. There are no cookies left. But in number 11, who's been eating my cookies? Someone has eaten some of the cookies, but they haven't eaten all of the cookies. So number 12, I've written several emails this morning. Is that correct or not? Okay, that is correct. Why is it correct? So it's present perfect simple, and that is because we're focusing on the quantity of emails. How many emails have I written this morning? And number 13, I've been writing emails all morning. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Why is that correct? Okay, so in number 13, we're focusing on the activity. So what have I been doing all morning? I've been writing emails. Number 12, they've drunk too much coffee today. Is that correct or incorrect? So that is correct. Why is that correct? It's present perfect simple, and we're using present perfect simple because we're focusing on how much. And number 13, they've been drinking coffee all day. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Okay, why is that correct? Okay, here we're focusing on the activity, not the quantity of coffee, the activity of drinking coffee and how long that activity has lasted. It has lasted all day. So, number 14, we've been playing tennis for 2 hours. And I'm sure you've guessed it, that is correct. Correct because we're focusing on the activity and the duration of time. So this is a continuous activity. We started playing tennis 2 hours ago, and we've either recently finished or we're still playing. So number 15, we've been playing tennis for 20 years. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Okay, why is that correct? Is that... Okay, my question here is, have they been playing tennis for 20 years as a continuous activity? A tennis match that has lasted 20 years? They must be very sweaty and very tired. So no, that isn't a continuous activity. Here we're using the present perfect continuous to talk about an activity that has been repeated over a period of time. Number 16, you look nice. Have you been having your hair cut? Is that correct? No, that's not correct. What should it be? Okay, it should be present perfect simple. So it should be, you look nice. Have you had your hair cut? Why? Okay, we're thinking about the result of a recent action. So the result is you look nice, and a recent finished action, you've had your hair cut. Number 17, the ground is wet. Has it been raining? Is that correct? Yep, that is correct. Why is it correct? Okay, here we have evidence of a recent activity. So the evidence is the ground is wet. Why? Because it has been raining. So number 18, I'm out of breath because I've been running. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Why? Again, we have evidence of a recent activity. So why am I out of breath? Because I've been running. And number 19, you're covered in paint. Have you painted? Sounds a little strange. No, it sounds like something's missing. It sounds like it should be, for example, have you painted the bedroom? Have you painted the house? Have you painted a picture? So, okay, that is incorrect. So it should be present perfect continuous. So it should be, you're covered in paint. Have you been painting? Why? Well, for the same reason as the previous two. So we're focusing on evidence of a recent activity. Recent activity, you have been painting, and the evidence, you're covered in paint. Number 20, sorry I'm late. How long have you waited? Is that correct? No, that's not correct. So what should it be? So it should be present perfect continuous. So it should be, sorry, I'm late. How long have you been waiting? So when we're thinking about how long an action lasted, we usually use the present perfect continuous, except when we're talking about state verbs. So number 21, how long have you been having that car? Is that correct or not? Okay, so that is incorrect. Why is it incorrect? Well, as I just said, we don't usually use present perfect continuous with state verbs, even if we're talking about how long the action continued for, or action state, sorry. So the correct answer is, how long have you had that car? So as I explained at the beginning of the video, if have is used to talk about a possession, having a possession, it's a state verb. Have isn't always a state verb. It depends on the context. For example, I could say I'm having a shower. That is an action. I could say I'm having a coffee. Having a coffee is an action. So, okay, that is it. We finished. So, just to summarize, the present perfect simple focuses on the results. For example, you've painted the bedroom. It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic is the result of the action. Present perfect continuous focuses on the activity. I've been painting the bedroom. So, sorry, I haven't called you I've been painting the bedroom. So painting the bedroom is the activity that prevented me from calling you. Present perfect simple is used when we can see the present results of a finished action. You look nice. Have you had your hair cut? So looking nice is the result of the action. Present perfect continuous is used when we can see evidence of a recent activity, which may or may not have finished. For example, the ground is wet. Has it been raining? Okay, in this example, it's finished raining because otherwise we wouldn't be asking the question. So, present perfect simple tells us how much or how many. I've written several emails this morning. So several tells us, talks about the quantity of emails that we've written. He's done a lot of work today. So a lot of work tells us how much work he's done today. Present perfect continuous tells us how long an activity has lasted for. He's been writing emails all morning. So all morning tells us how long the activity lasted for. Or he's been working all day. Again, we're not thinking about the quantity of work, we're thinking about how long he's been working for. And the present perfect simple describes a completed action. I've cleaned the house. Present perfect continuous describes an activity that may continue. I've been cleaning the house. So if I say I've cleaned the house, you know that I finished. You know the house is clean. If I say I've been cleaning the house, you know about my activity and I may or may not have finished. I may or may not continue. So present perfect simple can be used to talk about states and actions. For example, they've been married for 10 years. Present perfect continuous can be used to talk about actions but not states. For example, they've been dating for 10 years. So being married is a state, but dating is an action. Okay, so we're finished. I hope you found this video useful and I hope that you learned something. So I just wanted to remind you this video was brought to you by Balanced Languages. If you would like more information about Balanced Languages, send an email to ella@balancedlanguages.com. And can I ask you a favour? If you liked this video, could you give me a like or subscribe to the channel? So, thank you again for watching. Take care.